Are you ready to hear the gripping and true story of one of the biggest Dutch criminals ever? Today, we take a deep dive into the life of Gwenette Martha, a man whose name is synonymous with power, violence, and the illegal drug trade. And how did he become one of the most feared and respected figures in the Dutch underworld? What led to his eventual downfall, and what were the consequences of his actions? With exclusive footage and interviews, we bring you an inside look at the rise and fall of this infamous criminal mastermind. We'll take you on a journey from the gritty streets of Amsterdam to the lavish mansions of the rich and powerful. You'll hear about his numerous arrests, the rivalries and alliances he formed, and the shocking acts of violence that he committed. But this isn't just a story of crime and punishment. It's a tale of ambition, greed, and the lengths that people will go to get what they want. Throughout the video, we'll explore the complex web of relationships that Gwenette Martha built, as well as the personal struggles and demons that he faced. So buckle up and get ready for an unforgettable ride. As we explore the life and times of Gwenette Martha, we guarantee that you'll be hooked from start to finish. Don't miss out on this incredible story that will leave you both shocked and mesmerized. But before we dive into the story of Gwenette Martha, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on our latest videos. And if you enjoy this video, please hit that like button and share it with your friends and family. Now let's get back to the story. As we reveal the shocking truth behind one of the biggest Dutch drug criminals ever, you'll want to stay tuned until the very end. We've got some jaw-dropping revelations that will leave you speechless. So if you wish to uncover the truth about this infamous criminal mastermind, make sure you watch until the very end. In the world of organized crimes, few names carry as much weight as Gwenette Martha. Born in the Netherlands in the early 1970s, Martha quickly rose through the ranks of the Dutch underworld, becoming one of the most powerful and feared figures in the illegal drug trade. But what led to Martha's rise to power, and how did he manage to maintain his position in the face of constant threats from rivals and law enforcement? These are just a few of the questions that we'll be exploring in this video. To understand Martha's story, we have to go back to his early years. Growing up in Amsterdam, he was exposed to the seedy underbelly of the city from an early age. With few opportunities for legitimate work, many young men turned to the drug trade as a means of making a living. For Martha, it was no different. As a teenager, he began selling small amounts of drugs on the streets of Amsterdam, but he quickly realized that there was more money to be made in the higher echelons of the drug trade. With a natural charisma and a willingness to use violence when necessary, Martha soon built up a loyal following of drug dealers and enforcers. As Martha's reputation grew, so did his ambition. He began importing large quantities of cocaine and heroin from South America, using his extensive network of contacts to transport the drugs across Europe. He formed alliances with other powerful criminal organizations, including the infamous Italian mafia, and built up a vast criminal empire that spanned multiple countries. But with all that power came scrutiny. Martha was constantly under surveillance by Dutch law enforcement, who were determined to bring him to justice. He was arrested numerous times over the years, but always managed to evade conviction. However, Martha's luck eventually ran out. In 2014, he was finally arrested and charged with a range of crimes, including drug trafficking, money laundering, and membership in a criminal organization. He was sentenced to life in prison, where he died in 2019 after being shot by another inmate. The story of Gwenette Martha is one of the most fascinating and complex tales in the history of organized crime. From humble beginnings to becoming one of the most powerful and feared figures in the Dutch underworld, his story is a cautionary tale about the dangers of ambition and the corrupting influence of power. So stay tuned as we delve deeper into the world of Gwenette Martha and uncover the shocking truth about one of the biggest Dutch drug criminals ever. As we continue to unravel the story of Gwenette Martha, it becomes clear that he was more than just a simple drug dealer. He was a master manipulator who knew how to play the game of power and influence. His ability to form alliances with other criminal organizations and navigate the complex web of the drug trade allowed him to build a vast criminal empire that spanned multiple countries. But as Martha's powers grew, so too did the level of violence and bloodshed associated with his criminal activities. He became known for his ruthless tactics, which included everything from intimidation and extortion to kidnapping and murder. And yet, despite his notorious reputation, Martha had a certain charm and charisma that drew people to him. One of the most interesting aspects of Martha's story is his ability to elude law enforcement for so many years. Despite being under constant surveillance, he's always managed to stay one step ahead of the authorities. He used his extensive network of contacts and his intimate knowledge of the criminal justice system to avoid conviction time and time again. It wasn't until a massive police operation finally brought him down that Martha's luck finally ran out. Though Gwenette Martha's arrest and conviction were a major victory for law enforcement, the impact of his criminal activities continues to be felt today. How did one person's action have such far-reaching consequences? The consequences of Gwenette Martha's actions have been significant and far-reaching. His criminal activities had such a significant impact on communities in the Netherlands and beyond, contributing to the proliferation of drugs and drug-related violence. Martha's use of violence and intimidation to maintain control over his criminal empire had a devastating impact on his victims and their families. There were numerous instances of innocent people getting caught in the crossfire between rival drug gangs. The drug-related violence that erupted in the streets of Amsterdam and other Dutch cities had a profound effect on the local communities. Families were torn apart, neighborhoods were left in fear, and the social fabric of these communities was freed. Martha's involvement in the drug trade also had wider societal impacts. It contributed to the erosion of trust in law enforcement and the government, as many people began to feel that the authorities were unable or unwilling to deal with the problem of drug trafficking. It also fueled a sense of cynicism and disillusionment among young people who felt that there were few opportunities for them in a society that appeared to be dominated by the drug trade. Now the question is whether the consequences of his actions were confined only to his locality or whether they had aftershocks in other regions as well. Well, the consequences of Martha's actions were not just limited to the Netherlands. His criminal activities had a significant impact on other countries like Spain and Belgium, where he had established networks of drug dealers and smugglers. The Andes operation that led to Martha's arrest and conviction was a joint effort by law enforcement agencies in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Spain, highlighting the international nature of the drug trade. While Martha's arrest and conviction were seen as a major victory for law enforcement, his legacy lives on today, and his story continues to captivate people around the world. The case of Gwenette Martha serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of the drug trade and the devastating consequences that can result from involvement in criminal activities. It highlights the need for continued efforts to combat drug trafficking and organized crime both in the Netherlands as well as around the world. In conclusion, the story of Gwenette Martha is a captivating and tragic tale of a man who rose from humble beginnings to become one of the most notorious drug criminals in Dutch history. Despite his immense wealth and power, his life ultimately ended in violence and tragedy. The legacy of this criminal empire lives on to this day, serving as a cautionary tale for those who are tempted to follow in his footsteps. Do you think Gwenette Martha's rise to power was inevitable, or was it a product of circumstance? What do you think could have been done to prevent his criminal activities from gaining such widespread influence? What lessons can we learn from Gwenette Martha's story, and how can we apply them to prevent similar situations from happening in the future? Thank you for watching this video on the story of Gwenette Martha. If you enjoyed this content, then please like and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and informative videos. If you have any questions about the story of Gwenette Martha or the topic of drug crime in the Netherlands, please leave them in the comments section below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. We encourage you to share your thoughts and ideas in the comments section down below. Additionally, if you know anyone who'd be interested in this story, please share this video with them. Let's keep the conversation going and continue to explore the fascinating world of true crime. Thanks for watching.